Good morning, it's Gary back from G&H Honeybees, and it is Wednesday the 3rd of May, and it's about 17 degrees Celsius right at the moment, which is 62 Fahrenheit. Up until last Tuesday, we were hitting lows of 0 degrees Celsius and highs of about 9 degrees Celsius, and then it was like somebody flipped a light switch and we suddenly hit, good spring weather. It's almost summer-like weather. So I've got hives 2 and 3 sitting here, and they are doing really well. This one, hive 2, built up really quickly, and so I did a split, and I've got my split sitting there. I did take them away and put them over at another location and let them sit there for, 4 or 5 days, and then I brought them back over here. And there's a reason for that, so I'll talk to you about that in the second part of the video. So anyway, I'm not actually going to open these girls up. I'm just letting them be. They're foraging off the maple trees. The maple trees have finally bloomed, and I think there's a lot of other things that finally bloomed, and they've just been going crazy bringing in pollen and nectar. Now, the reason I haven't got a second box on hive 3 yet is they were pretty weak when I put the new queen in there in March, and they're still building up population enough to be able to have a second box. Whereas this box had a really good population in it when I put the new queen in, and she went crazy laying eggs, and of course they built up really quickly. And that's why I did a split off of them. I didn't want them to get into swarm mode just yet, and hopefully we can prevent that. But anyway, things are looking better. We're getting the yard cleaned up, and the flower beds here in front of the greenhouse. We got flowers growing, got all kinds of veggies growing in the greenhouse. And yeah, so this sudden change in the weather has kicked things off for the year. So anyway, that's the good part of what's going on around here. Now I'm going to go over to the other location and show you the bad part. Be back in a bit. Alright, I'm back, and these are the 2 package colonies that I got in March, and these packages came from Tasmania, and they seem to be nothing but trouble, and I'll show you why. You see those black things there on the landing board? It looks like we have Chalkbrood. From what I can summarize from what I've studied on the internet. And I had put this second box on here before I realized that was happening, and I wasn't sure if it was contaminated or not, but I took out 5 frames out of this bottom box. It was all full of brood, and replaced them with clean frames that I knew were clean, and I was hoping that might get the Chalkbrood out of the box, but I think it was too late, because what you're seeing out the front there now is from the upper box, because I put clean frames in here. Oh yeah, and the queen is no longer in here. Either I accidentally rolled her, or the bees balled her or something, but she was on the bottom, and the bees were wrapped up around her in a real tight cluster, but I think they were balling her. So anyway, so the 5 frames I took out of here, out of the bottom box, I put in the freezer so I could kill the brood that was in the frames, and then I uncapped them and I would say between 5 and 10% on each side of the frame had mummified dead brood in there, and the rest of them were apparently good. And I'd hoped that that hadn't spread to the eggs that she had laid up here, but it looks like now that it has, as you can see by them little black husks that are laying on the bottom board there. And I would sweep them off of there, but these girls are just not content. And I've noticed that over here, you can see right there, just past that dead bee, there's a husk there, and I think there's one laying there on the landing board. I think these bees have also got it. And what chalkbrood is a fungal infection that apparently stems from maybe being moved, the bees being moved. And of course these bees were moved. They came from Tasmania, so they were moved halfway around the world. And cold weather, cold wet weather, which we had up until last Tuesday. And there was a couple other factors in there that I can't recall off the top of my head. So, and the thing is, because it's a fungal infection, there's no treatments for it to get rid of it. And I found a couple of websites mentioning something about bananas. And so you see in here, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put a spacer in the top, on the top of the box, and you split a banana lengthways, and you lay the two halves of the banana on the tops of the frames. And when bananas ripen, they give off a gas called ethylene. And it's a, I don't know, it's a gas that causes chemical reactions within sort of like vegetation. And they say some people have had good results with doing this. If you go to buy tomatoes off the store shelf, they are artificially ripened with ethylene gas because it causes a chemical reaction within the tomato cells and makes them turn red. If you were to get tomatoes that were vine ripened, they wouldn't make it to the store. They would be mush by the time they made it to the store. So they use an ethylene, they pick the tomatoes green and put them in some ethylene gas, turns them red, and then they can ship them. So they look like they're ripe tomatoes. So anyway, so that's the kind of chemical reaction that we're talking about here is this ethylene gas is supposed to filter down, and they don't know exactly what it does, whether it causes the bees to have an extra boost of hygienic behavior and just to clean the stuff out or what. But since I've done this, since I put the banana in here, I haven't seen a whole lot of husks being hauled out of this box. I've only seen like 5 or 6. Now, the other problem with this box is the original queen that came with the package, she disappeared. I don't know where she went. She just disappeared. So I went up to Duncan. That was a week after, 7 days after. Bought a new queen, put her in here, and she is gone. And I don't know what's up with these bees. They don't seem to want a queen. But anyway, they've got queen cells growing in there. I'm just going to let them stay bottled up here until they figure out what they're doing. Now, as for this box, I really don't want to mix them with my other bees. Any amount of crossover could cause this fungus infection to be moved from one box to the other. And I just don't want that. And I think that's how this other colony has got it. There's been a bit of crossover. So I'm not exactly sure what to do with them. I don't want to keep throwing clean frames at them and still have that fungus in there, because I think what's happening is the adult bees are feeding fresh eggs or larvae, and the fungus is in that feed, and the larvae eat it as they're growing, and then this fungus grows inside the larva to the point where it causes the larva to starve, and then they turn into this little white husk, and then eventually they turn black, like what you see laying here on the landing board. And I think as the bees haul them out, it spreads more of this fungus around. So, if you've had any experience with Chalkbrood, please let me know in the comments what you've done to deal with it. And if there's anything I can do to help clean this box up. I'd hate to kill off this colony and start fresh again, but if that's what has to happen, that's what has to happen. So, I hope you're all having a good day, and we'll catch you again on the next video. Please rate, share, and subscribe if you could, and we'll talk to you again on the next video. Bye for now.